إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. أما بعد، يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we continue going over the series of Islam. Islam is built upon 5, and we have reached the 5th and the final pillar, and that is Hajj al-Bayt, and making Hajj to the house. وقال صلى الله عليه وسلم وحج البيت الله الحرام, and making pilgrimage to the sacred house of Allah. The ulama, they explain, as they say, al-hajj wajib, that hajj is obligatory. Wajib ala kulli muslim, it is obligatory upon every Muslim. And from the proofs and the evidences of the obligation of hajj is this particular hadith. This particular hadith, the hadith of Ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. The hadith of Ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma فيما رواه البخاري ومسلم, and that which is narrated, or that which is collected by al-Bukhari and Muslim. This hadith is mutafaqun alayh. This hadith which outlines the 5 pillars of Islam. Everything that is mentioned therein, then it is wajib. It is obligatory upon every Muslim. But as we explained in the last week's class, or we went over some brief details as regards to the conditions and those who it is wajib upon, likewise with hajj, you will have the similar. As the ulama, they say, al-hajj wajib ala kulli muslim baligh aqil, every Muslim that who is of age, they have reached the age of puberty. Aqil, they have their faculties. There are no mental deficiencies, but they have their faculties, they are sane. Na'am. And the proof and evidence for that is the hadith رفع القلم عن ثلاثة, that the pen has been lifted from the 3. So this shows us that if they have yet to reach the age of puberty, or if they are insane, then the pen has been lifted upon them, and thus hajj is not wajib upon them. Likewise, hur, an individual has to be free. He has to be free and not a slave. mustati'. He has to have the ability. He has to be free, and they have to have the ability. So it is wajib upon every Muslim who is of puberty, he has sanity, he is free, and he has the ability. Na'am, and he has the ability. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll talk a little bit about what it means to have the ability in a very brief manner, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. The ulama, they say, وَتَتَحَقَّقْ الْإِسْتِطَاعَةِ بِأَمْنِ الطَّرِيقِ وَالصِّحَّةِ. They said in that the ability will be actualized by having a safe passage, and by having health. And with regards to the issue of health, we're going to go more into it bi'idhnillahi ta'ala towards the end of the class, and the issues that are related to the health and how that is dealt with as relates to Hajj. However, going back to the first one, it have to have a safe passage, a safe way, meaning that the manner of getting there has to be safe. It has to be safe. Naam. And what is meant by safety means that there's no danger outside of the regular danger. Because as we know, doing traveling, there's always a possibility of some kind of danger, some type of mishap, and so on and so forth. So we're not talking about the regular things that may happen and occur during a travel, any travel, and in particular the travel to Hajj. But we're speaking about it has to be of safety. So, for example, if an individual is in a war zone where the roads are not open, where there's ongoing fighting and bombing and so on and so forth, and armies and militia, they are patrolling the area, and it is a great deal of harm, then this is not a safe passage, this is not a safe road. So for individuals living in such a region, then the obligation of Hajj is removed from them while this situation persists, because they don't have the ability as relates to safe passage. They don't have the ability as relates to safe passage. وَصِحَّةً, and they have to have health. They have to be healthy. Naam, physically healthy. Well, and they have to have النفقة, and they have to own the proper money, the financial means. التي تكفيه لذهابه وإيابه. They have to have the means, the financial means that will suffice his going and his coming. So the person making Hajj, they have to have enough money to take care of their going and their coming back. Naam, to their going and their coming back. وتشترط نعم أن تكون فاضلة عن حاجته وحاجة من تلزمه نفقته. And also it is stipulated that not just that they have to have enough money to go and to return, but they have to have enough money, or it is stipulated that this money that they have to go and return, it is extra. It is beyond his needs and beyond the needs of those individuals whom it is binding upon him to spend on them. Naam, and it has to be above and extra outside of his needs and the needs of those whom it is binding that he spend upon him, like his wife, his children, so on and so forth. Naam, and Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhullah ta'ala, he mentions this as well in brief, inshallah ta'ala, as we'll come to see soon. So all of this enters into having the ability. All of these things have to be in place. They have to have health, they have to have a safe passage, they have to have the financial means, meaning they have to have the physical ability, they have to have the financial ability, and having the financial ability, that means that they have enough money that will take care of their coming and their going, the full of what is needed throughout their travel, and they will have left enough behind to take care of those individuals whom they are responsible for. وَمِنْ اسْتِطَاعَ, and also what enters into having the ability, يعني في حج المرأة, as relates to the woman, what enters into having the ability as relates to the females, وجود المحرم الذي ترافقها في السفر الحج. She has to have a mahram. She has to have a male relative. Naam. And what is a mahram? Who is mahram for her? Is that male relative that she can never marry. And when we say never marry, we mean never marry, ever. Not those male relatives who are haram for her for a particular period of time. Because you have some relatives, male relatives, that are haram for you for a period of time, but not forever. An example of this will be like for a man, your sister-in-law, or for a woman, your brother-in-law. Naam. So for a woman, her brother-in-law, naam, while she is married to his brother, it is not permissible for her to marry him, nor is it permissible for him to marry her, because she's married to his brother. But that prohibition or that hindrance that doesn't allow them to be married is only temporary, because in the event of the death of her husband, then it's permissible in the Sharia for her to marry her husband's brother. Na'am, it is permissible for her to marry her husband's brother. Like a man, he can't marry two sisters at one time. It's not permissible for him to marry two sisters at one time. But if his wife dies, right, then it's permissible for him to marry her sister. So the prohibition in this case is temporary. The prohibition is temporary. So in cases like this, the brother-in-law will not be considered a mahram that she can travel with. This is not a mahram that she can travel with. Why? Because the hindrance which doesn't allow her to marry him is temporary. The mahram is the one who she's never allowed to marry, ever. For example, like her father, like her son, like her nephews, so on and so forth, right? Her uncles, right? So on and so forth. These individuals, it is haram for her to marry them ever. So they are maharim. They are those who can take her for hajj. They are those who can take her for hajj or for any travel. They are those who can, that she must travel with one of them. Naam. The ulama, they say لأنه لا يجوز لها السفر للحج ولا لغيره بدون المحرم. They said because it's not permissible for her to travel to hajj or for her to travel to other than hajj without a mahram. She's not allowed to travel, period, without a mahram. نعم. وهذا لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, and this is according to the statement of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, because a person may say, well, وَمَا الدَّلِيلِ, and what is the proof and what is the evidence here? نعم. وَمَا الدَّلِيلِ, الدليل قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تسافر المرأة إلا مع ذي محرم, حديث صحيح رواه البخاري. The proof is a statement of the Prophet ﷺ that a woman does not travel, right? Or a woman cannot travel except that she has with her a mahram. A woman is not allowed to travel except that she has with her a mahram. Na'am. And this hadith is authentic and has been collected by Imam al-Bukhari, and it's from the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. So as relates to the woman, then she has to have with her a mahram, even if she is physically healthy and she's financially stable, she has enough money to go and come, and it's from the extra and so on and so forth. Naam, she has to have a mahram. If she does not have a mahram, then she can't make hajj. It's not binding upon her in that state for her to make hajj. Naam. So if she's not married and she doesn't have any children that are old enough or any male relatives from the maharam that are Muslim, father's not Muslim, uncle not Muslim, and so on and so forth, then it is not wajib upon her in that state that she makes hajj. It's not wajib upon her. Once she has mahram and she still has the financial ability and she's still physically capable, then at that point it becomes wajib upon her. So from what it enters into having the ability is that a woman, she has to have a mahram. She has to have a mahram. And as relates to the women, it also as relates and shows us the superiority of the hajj, is that our mother Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, أنها قالت, she said, يا رسول الله ترى جهاد أفضل العمل أفلا نجاهد. Our mother Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she said, do you not see except that jihad is the best of the actions? That jihad, fighting in the way of Allah, is the best of the actions. أَفَلَا نُجَاهِدُ. She said, so do we not make jihad? Meaning for the women. So can the women make jihad? Can the women make jihad? فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لكن أفضل الجهاد حج مبرور رواه البخاري. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, but rather, meaning, no, women don't make jihad, but rather for them, the best jihad is the hajj that is mabrur. It is the hajj that is accepted. So the hajj that is accepted, then this is from the woman's jihad. This is the jihad of the woman, is to make the hajj. And the hajj that is accepted is tremendous. So from this we see something from the superiority of the hajj. Something from the superiority of the hajj, in particular as relates to the women. But as relates to everyone, men and women included, is that which comes on the authority عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال العمرة إلى العمرة كفارة لما بينهما. That from Umrah to Umrah, then this is an expiation of what has taken place between the two. From Umrah to Umrah, then this is an expiation of those sins that have taken place between the two Umrahs. Now, and the ulama, they explain what is meant by that is the expiation or an expiation of the minor sins. The minor sins that have taken place between Umrah and Umrah, then they're wiped away. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَالْحَجْ الْمَبْرُورِ, and the hajj that is mabrur. Mabrur means accepted. The hajj that is accepted, لَيْسَ لَهُ جَزَاء إِلَّا الْجَنَّةِ. That for the accepted hajj, there is no reward for it except for Jannah. Hadith muttafaqun alayh. This hadith that has been agreed upon by Bukhaari and Muslim, collected by both Al-Bukhari and Muslim, rahimahumullah ta'ala. So for the hajj that is accepted, then there is no reward for it except Jannah. So this shows us now from the superiorities of the hajj. From the superiority of the hajj is that hajj that is accepted, then its reward is Jannah. Its reward is Jannah. So hajj bila shak wa bila rayb is a great act of worship. It is a great act of worship. So I encourage myself and I encourage everyone to save money so that you're able to make the hajj and to make this a priority of your striving to earn halal provisions, so that you may steadily save and save, so that you may make the hajj. So that you may make the hajj. وقال العلامة الشيخ صالح الفوزان He says, وَالْحَجْ هُوَ رُكْنٌ الْخَامِسِ, that the Hajj is the fifth pillar min arkan al-Islam. It is the fifth pillar from the pillars of al-Islam. وَهُوَ لَا يَجِبُ, and it is not obligatory upon al-Muslim, the Muslim, إِلَّا مَرَّةً وَاحِدَةً فِي الْعُمُرِ. It is not wajib upon the Muslim to go except for one time in his life. So the Hajj is wajib upon the Muslim that has his intellect, that has reached the age of purity, that is free and has the ability. It is wajib that he go to Hajj, or that she go to Hajj once in their lifetime. Once in their lifetime. Naam. So Hajj is wajib for those who have the ability and they fit the conditions of what? That they have to go at least one time. They have to go one time in their life. This is not to say you can't go more than once. You can go more than once and have to tatawwu'. Naam. Voluntary, Hajj after, but this is after what? After you make the obligatory Hajj. The first Hajj is obligatory. Any Hajj you do after that, then it will be voluntary. والحج لغة, and Hajj, what it means in the Arabic language, القصد, it means to intend, to have an intention, intent. نعم. وشرعا, and in the Sharia, it means هو قصد البيت الحرام لأداء العبادة. It means to intend specifically to go to the sacred house to carry out worship. من طواف, from making tawaf around the Kaaba, circling the Kaaba, wasa'i, the running back and forth between Safa and Marwa, between Safa and Marwa, wuqufin bi'Arafah, standing on Arafah, wa mabitin bi Muzdalifa wa bi Mina, and spending the night at Muzdalifa and at Mina, ورمي للجمار, and stoning of the pillars, the jamarat, stoning of the jamarat. فهذا الحج, and this is the Hajj, ركن من أركان الإسلام, it is a pillar from the pillars of al-Islam. ونظرا لقوله شاقا, and this now we see some of the wisdoms for why the Hajj is only once in a lifetime. Al-Allama al-Fawzan, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he says, in looking at how it is difficult, or there is a degree of difficulty as relates to the Hajj. There's a degree of difficulty as relates to the Hajj. وَيَأْتِيهِ النَّاسُ مِنْ أَقْطَارِ الْأَرْضِ, and people come from all over the earth, from the furthest portions of the earth, from all over the earth, all over the globe. Minha Qarib, some places that the people that travel to make Hajj are close. Some places they're traveling from are close. Wa minha al-ba'id, and some places that the people are traveling to or traveling from to make the Hajj, then they are very far. They're very far. Naam. So because you have the people coming from all over the earth, some places close, some places far, and that there's a degree of difficulty as contained therein in this travel, فإن الله أوجبه على المستطيع بماله الذي عنده ما يكفي لسفره ذهابا وإيابا وعنده ما يكفي لأولاده وأهل بيته حتى يرجع. So but due to these reasons, then it has been obligated upon an individual to go once in his lifetime. Naam, obligated upon an individual to go once in his lifetime. Shaykh Fawzan, he goes on and he says that you have some people coming from far, some people coming from close, some people coming from far. So really Allah Ta'ala has made it obligatory upon those who have the ability to go financially. Those who have the financial ability and means to go. The one who has enough money to cover his travel, going and coming, or going and coming back, and he has enough to leave behind for his children and for the people of his household until he returns. So he leaves them with enough until he returns. And this is a very important point, and I want us to look at the legislation of Islam, the letter and the spirit of the law of the Sharia. Is that, look, Hajj is a pillar from the pillars of Islam. It's wajib, right? It's from the 5 pillars of Islam. There's no doubt about that. There's a consensus amongst the Muslims. It's proof from the Qur'an, proof from the Sunnah, and it's ijma' on the obligation of Hajj, right? But with that, it is stipulated that an individual has enough money to go, come back, and he has enough money to leave behind for his family in his absence that will take care of all their needs until he returns. This is what is stipulated for Hajj. So when one reflects and he looks at the letter and the spirit of the law as relates to fulfilling the obligation of Hajj, this is an illustration of the misguidance of Jama'atul Tabligh. Because Jama'atul Tabligh, they'll tell people, you have to make da'wah, so leave your family, come for 40 days, make da'wah, and don't worry about your family, Allah will take care of it. So the person goes, he leaves his family, he don't have enough money to go where he need to go, and he don't have enough money to leave behind for his family. But with Jama'atul Tabligh, they say, that's fine, that's okay, perfectly fine. That's fine. Huh? They say that's okay. You do that. You come with us, leave your family. But yet for they don't have no money, no nothing. So no bills are paid. No money for food is left and all that stuff. And Jama'atul Tabligh, they say it's fine. Come with us. It's okay. This is a good thing you're doing. But now, how do we compare that to the Sharia? And what it tells us is needed and stipulated to fulfill one of the pillars of Islam. You see? Because to fulfill a pillar of Islam, you will say what? Then of course this is more important than going out with Jama'atul Tabligh. Correct? Nah, there's no doubt about that. This is more important. Right? For those people who are confused, it's more important. For those people who are not confused, then we know it's not an option. Going out with them is bid'ah. So of course, we ain't gonna do no leave a sunnah for bid'ah. It's bid'ah. So going out with them is haram. Ala kulli hal, for those who are confused and those who think that there's some merit therein, reflect. Fulfilling a pillar of Islam is more important. But yet to fulfill that pillar of Islam, it is stipulated that you have to have enough money to go and to come back and to leave for your family in your wake. But the Jama'atul Tabligh, they come in with this principle and they say, no, leave your family, don't worry about it, put your trust in Allah, just come with us, and because you got to go out for this 40 days, you got to go. Right? It's an illustration of what? Of their misguidance. Because the Sharia is teaching us one thing and they clearly doing something else. You understand? Clearly doing something else. Clearly you have another understanding. The mentality is totally different as relates to the carrying about to the carrying out of that which is obligatory. And this is just one illustration. Another illustration is that to give da'wah, you have to have ilm. You have to have knowledge. This is from the preparations of giving da'wah. This is from that which enters into having the ability to give da'wah. But these individuals, they are from the juhal, from ajhal al-nas, the most ignorant of the people. Yet they're going out and trying to talk to people about Islam and call people to al-Islam. But as Imam al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala he said, learn, then give da'wah. Learn, then give da'wah. Because you have to give da'wah based upon ilm, based upon basira. So this just shows us further the misguidance of the tabligh. Because when it comes to having the ability to give da'wah as far as the knowledge aspect of it, they don't have that. So that box is not checked. When it comes to the financial ability and taking care of the responsibilities, they don't have that box is not checked. So yeah, subhanAllah shows you from so many aspects of the misguidance of the tabligh, and how what they're doing is not in compliance with the sharia, not in the spirit nor the letter of the law. It's not in compliance. Which is clear that what? They're not getting that from the Prophet ﷺ, they're not getting that from the Sahaba, but they got that where? They got that from a Mubtadi'. They got that from a Mubtadi', and that's what they follow when they're doing is bid'ah. لأنهم مبتدعون, because they are innovators. Na'am, and as Imam bin Baz rahimahullah ta'ala, he said they are to be counted from the 72 sects that will be destroyed. They are to be counted from the 72 sects that will be destroyed. Those who are mentioned in the hadith of iftiraq, وسترك أمتي على 73 فرقة كلها في النار إلا واحدة, that my ummah will break into 73 different sects, 73 different sects, all of them in a fire except for one. Na'am, to the end of the hadith. على كل حال, the Jama'at al-Tabligh, then they are counted as one of the sects that will be destroyed. And then when it was asked, فَمَا هِيَ تِلْكَ فِرْقَ يَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, and what is that one group, O Messenger of Allah? The Prophet said, مَا أَنَا عَلَيْهِ الْيَوْمَ أَصْحَابِي, what I and my companions are upon today. What I and my companions are upon today. But we don't find what? We don't find the Prophet ﷺ nor the companions going out for 40 days, leaving their families destitute, and that. We don't find that. This is not from the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. This is not what the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba were upon. So this is what an indication that what they're upon is misguidance, what they're upon is wrong, what they're upon they're in no khair. لو كان خيرا لسبقونا إليه. If it had in it good, then what? Then the Sahaba would have beaten us to it. The Sahaba would have beaten us in doing it. The Prophet ﷺ would have beaten us in doing it. The Prophet ﷺ would have taught us about it. Naam. So all of these are just ways, illustrations to show you that the Jama'at al-Tabligh, that their way is not Sharia compliant. If you want to put it like that, right? It's not Sharia compliant. Why? Because their way is a way of bid'ah. Their way is a way of innovation. وَشَرُّ أُمُورِ مُحْدَثَاتُهَا وَكُلَّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدْعَةٍ وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ وَكُلَّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ. As the Prophet ﷺ said, in the worst of all affairs are newly invented matters. Every newly invented matter is a bid'ah. Every bid'ah is going astray, and every going astray is in the fire. With the Jama'at al-Tabligh, what they're upon is what is bid'ah. Na'am. على كل حال, Sheikh Fawzan, he says that you have to have enough money to leave for their family, for their children, for the people in their household until they return. And due to this reason, يجب عليه الحج. فهذا يجب عليه الحج. So this one who has enough money for him going, his coming, to the end of it, right? He's of sound mind. He is healthy. If it's a woman, she has with her mahram, so on and so forth. Then this one, it is wajib upon him to make hajj. This one he has to make hajj. If he fits all the criteria, for the hajj, then he has to make the hajj. فَإِنْ كَانَ يَقْدِرُ عَلَيْهِ بِنَفْسِهِ حَجَّ بِنَفْسِهِ. And now Sheikh Fawzan is going to go over some scenarios. It's very, very important. He said that if he has the ability to make hajj for himself, if he has the ability to make hajj for himself, he has the financial ability, he has the physical ability, right? Then he has to make the hajj for himself. He has to go for himself. وَإِنْ كَانَ لَا يَقْدِرُ عَلَيْهِ بِنَفْسِهِ وَعَجْزُهُ مُسْتَمِرٌّ فَإِنَّهُ يُنِيبُ مَنْ يَحُجُّ عَنْهُ. So if he doesn't have the ability to go for himself, and that which impedes him is continuous and perpetual, then he will assign someone to make hajj in his stay. Then he will assign someone to make hajj for him. For example, someone who has the financial ability and the means to make hajj, right? But they have health issues that impede them from carrying out the hajj themselves. They have health issues that don't allow them to physically take the journey, or to physically take the journey and or carry out the rituals of Hajj, then this individual, then they will pay for someone else they will pay for someone else to make Hajj for them. And this is what it will be wajib upon them. You see? Because we have to fear Allah to the best of our ability. So if you have the financial means, but you don't have the physical means, then what? Then you pay for someone to go for you. Because that's what you have the ability to do. Now, so for the one who he's not physically capable of going, but he's financially capable of going, then it's wajib upon him to have someone go in his stay. To have someone go for his stay, and to take care of the finances of the trip and so on and so forth. Now, the issue comes, what if they had the financial ability, right? And they had the physical ability. They had a financial ability and they had the physical ability, right? But they died before they had a chance to make Hajj. They died before they had a chance to make the Hajj. They were intending to go, right? But then they passed away. وَإِن مَاتَ وَلَمْ يَحُجَّ وَهُوَ مُسْتَطِيعٌ. He died, or she died, and they didn't make Hajj, but they were capable of making Hajj in their lifetime, meaning that they were physically healthy and they had the financial means. But they never got around to making the Hajj, and they died before they were able to carry out the Hajj. Na'am. Fa'ala. This is very important. It's very, very important, because we may have family members that die, so we have to look into this situation. If we just don't, shroud them and bury them and pray over them and bury them and that's it. But we got to look over this situation. Did they have the means to make the Hajj physically and financially? Right? But they died before they were able to make it. Because if that's the case, then فَعَلَى وَرَثَتِهِ, then it becomes binding, wajib, upon those who inherit from him or her, and يُخْرِجُوا مِنْ طريقته أو طريقتها ما يحج به عنه أو عنها, is that it becomes wajib upon those who inherit from them to take from their money, to take from the money that they left behind, to take from the money that they left behind, right? And this, of course, after all debts are paid and so on and so forth, right? That they take from the money and they utilize it so someone can make Hajj on their behalf, on behalf of what? Of the dead person, the person who died. This is what? If that person in their lifetime had the financial means and they had the physical means to make the Hajj, then it becomes wajib upon the family to take from the wealth that they left behind, and then someone go make Hajj for them, and then someone go to make Hajj for them. Now, the Shaykh, he says, لأن هذا ركن من أركان الإسلام. He said, because this is a pillar from the pillars of Islam, and it's just that important. That even if a person dies and they didn't get around to making the Hajj, but they had the means, and they had the financial ability, the ability to go, and they had the physical ability to go, Hajj is so important that someone still has to go on their behalf by taking the money out from the money they left behind to be inherited. Someone still has to make the Hajj for them. The Shaykh, he says, وَأَمَّا الَّذِي لَا يَسْتَطِيعُ. He said, but with regards to the one who does not have the ability, لِأَنَّ لَيْسَ عِنْدَهُ مَالٍ, because he has no money. The one who he didn't have the ability, or he does not have the ability because he doesn't have the financial means to make the Hajj, even though he may have had the physical strength and the physical means to make Hajj. He may have met all the other criteria, from having safe passage, from having the health, from being of age, from having intellect, from being free, and so on and so forth. But he did not have the financial means to make Hajj. The Shaykh, he says, فَهَذَا لَا حَجَّ عَلَيْهِ. Then this one, then Hajj is not obligatory upon him as an individual. It's not obligatory upon him as an individual. Why? Because he doesn't have the means. He doesn't have the means, or he didn't have the means. نعم. وإن كان يستطيع من ناحية المال. He said, but if an individual, he has the ability from the standpoint of finances, financially they have the ability, لكن لا يستطيع من ناحية البدن, but he doesn't have the ability as relates to his body. He doesn't have the physical ability. نعم. A person has enough money, but he doesn't have the physical ability. Then this individual, we have to look at his situation. We have to look at his situation. فَإِنْ كَانَ يُرْجَى زَوَالُ الْعُذْرِ, if he anticipates that whatever is physically impeding him will go away, if it is a condition that will go away and he'll get better from it, he'll recover from it, فَإِنَّهُ يَنْتَظِرُ حَتَّى يَقْدِرُ وَيَحُجُّ أَوْ وَيَحُجَّ. Then this one, أو يقدر ويحج. Then this one, he will wait until whatever physical thing or physical impairment goes away. He will wait until it goes away, and once he has the ability, then he will make the Hajj. So a person is sick, or they have something that's physically impairing them from making the Hajj, but they have the financial means. If that thing that impairs them will go away, then they wait. They wait until they get better, until they recover, and once they're able to go, then they go and make Hajj for themselves. Now, this is what I mean. If they're sick, then we got to look at it and see. If their sickness is going to go away, whatever is impairing them will go away, right? They might need physical therapy or something like this. But then they wait. They wait. Once they recover, then they make Hajj. وَإِنْ كَانَ لَا يُرْجَى زَوَالُ عُذْرِ, but if it is a situation that he does not anticipate his a recovery, if it is a type of sickness or the type of physical impairment that he's not going to recover from, he or she does not anticipate that they will recover from it, then this individual, and the Shaykh gives an example, لأنه كبير هرم أو مريض مرضا مزمنا. Like a person, for example, who he is old. He's old. Maybe he saved up, but by the time he had enough money to go, they became old in age, senior citizens, right? So in that situation, that's it. You're not going to become young again. So they don't have the ability physically, but they may have the finances. Or a person who is sick with a perpetual sickness that they don't anticipate to be cured from, right? Then this person, he has a sickness that impairs him from going, that he's not going to be cured from. It's something that will be with him for the rest of his life. فَهَذَا يُنِيبُ مَنْ يَحُجُّ عَنْهُ. Then this one, then he would give, or he would have someone make Hajj in his stead. He will have someone make Hajj for him. So again, if an individual is sick, or they have a financial, or they have a physical, impairment that prevents them from making Hajj, but they have the financial means to make the Hajj, then they have to pay for someone to make Hajj in their stead. And of course, this is for the one who he's alive, right? He's alive. He has someone make Hajj in his stead before he dies. Now, if they die and they had the ability before their death, then after their deaths, then we will take from that money that they leave behind to be inherited, and we will make Hajj, or so, and we will make Hajj on their behalf. Yeah. Shaykh Fawzani says, for the household, أن هذا الحديث, he says, so this particular hadith, in conclusion, what we extract from this particular hadith, أن هذا الحديث مكمل, he said, so in conclusion, or how would you say, summary or the like, that this particular hadith, it is a completion لحديث Umar, for the hadith of Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. In the hadith of Umar, what he intends by it is what hadith Jibreel. Na'am. وَمُبَيِّنٌ لَهُ, and it clarifies it. It is a completion of the hadith of Jibreel, and it clarifies it. Right? وَلِذَلِكَ ذَكَرَهُ الْمُصَنِّفِ بَعْدَهُ. And for this reason, the author, Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned this hadith after the hadith of Jibreel. It completes it. Because remember, as mentioned in previous classes, because in the hadith of Jibreel, the 5 pillars were mentioned. Right? It was mentioned. However, it was not stated that they were pillars of the deen. It was not stated that they were pillars of the deen. Right? So this hadith here, it comes as a completion of what was mentioned in the hadith of Jibreel by stating that these 5 are pillars of the religion. These 5 are pillars of the religion. Naam. And the Allama, he ends his explanation of this tremendous hadith with that. So likewise, we will suffice ourselves with that which has been mentioned. فنكتفي بهذا القدر. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. وجزاكم الله خيرا.